is the Biot-Savart's law, right? The next topic that we have is Biot-Savart's law. I think many of us know what is Biot-Savart's law because we at the intermediate level also we have the topic. Okay, so yeah, just quickly let us see what is Biot-Savart's law. So this is the law by which we can measure the magnetic field intensity or magnetic flux density. Okay, right? So what this law says is, so if I have, let's say, a conductor, okay, that might be straight line or something like this. So I have a conductor, okay, current carrying, and some current is passed through this conductor. The current that I am passing is I, okay, and because this whenever the current passes through the conductor, we will get magnetic field, right? So because of that, let us say there is a point P, okay, at a distance of capital R from the conductor, okay. So from the conductor, okay, let's say it is at a distance of R from this point on the conductor, okay. Let us consider that a small portion on the conductor as dl, and from this dl, the point P is at a distance of R, okay. So Biot-Savart's law says that, right, whenever the current is passed through the conductor, the magnetic field will be produced, right, and this magnetic field strength and this magnetic field, right, whatever you produce, it has an intensity that is proportional to the, right, product of I into D, right, the current into the length of the conductor. For example, we are considering only a small portion. So this portion, the magnetic field intensity that is produced is directly proportional to the product of current and its length, okay, the current passing through it and its length, directly proportional to the angle, right, the sine of the angle made between the conductor and the line joining the conductor and the point, okay. So this line and this conductor, whatever is the angle is there, so it is directly proportional to the sine of that angle, that is sine theta, okay, and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the, right, the conductor and the point, okay. So Biot-Savart's law says that the magnetic field intensity, right, will be directly proportional to the current passing through the conductor and the length of the conductor, directly proportional to the sine of the angle between the conductor and the line joining the point, okay, and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the conductor and the point, okay. So this is Biot-Savart's law. Sir, a few students are waiting. Yeah, standing. Yes, okay, right. So okay, this is the thing, right, this is the Biot-Savart's law. Biot-Savart's law says that the magnetic field intensity will be directly proportional to the product of the current and the length, current passing through the conductor and the length of the conductor, in directly proportional to the sine of the angle between the conductor and the line joining the, right, conductor to the point, okay. So this angle, if that angle is theta, then it is like this, okay, and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the conductor and the point, okay. So this is the thing, right. So if I combine all these three, right, what I get, so dH is directly proportional to IDL sine theta divided by R square, IDL sine theta divided by R square. So if I want to remove constant of proportionality, then dH is equal to, right, for removing we must multiply this by 4 pi, okay. So the constant of proportionality we take it as 4 pi into, right, IDL sine theta divided by R square, okay. So this is the, right, one form of expression of the Biot-Savart's law, right, okay, clear with this. So Biot-Savart's law says that the magnetic field intensity at a point will be directly proportional to the current passing through the conductor, length of the conductor, sine of the angle between the conductor and the line joining the point, inversely proportional to the square of the distance. So if I write, this is the case, okay, clear with this. Now for example, if dl, right, differential change in length or small length, if dl is a vector, let's say dl is the magnitude of magnitude of the vector dl bar. Let's say dl bar is a vector and the magnitude is dl. Okay, and let us consider ar bar is the unit vector joining this, right, along this line. So let us consider along this line, if ar bar is the unit vector, then dl bar cross ar bar, then dl bar cross ar bar will be nothing but, for the cross product a cross b, what is a cross b? A cross b is equal to modulus of a modulus of b into sin theta, correct? So dl bar cross ar bar is equal to, right, dl modulus of dl into modulus of ar bar into sin theta. Okay, so modulus of dl is nothing but the length, so let us write it as dl itself. Okay, dl modulus of ar bar, unit vector, for unit vector the magnitude will be 1, correct? Few more or waiting. Yeah, I'm just adding. Yes, okay. So dl into, right, magnitude of ar bar is 1 into sin theta, correct? Okay, so dl sin theta can be written as dl bar cross ar bar. So if I replace that here, right, in the Biot-Savart's law, so what I get, dh bar is equal to dh bar is equal to 1, right, I dl sin theta can be replaced by dl bar cross ar bar. So I replace it with like this, dl bar cross ar bar divided by, right, 4 pi r square. So this is the magnetic field intensity, right, produced by a small element, at the point p. Okay, so it is the magnetic field intensity produced by a small element at the point p. Okay, correct? Clear with this? So if I want to get the total field, okay, is it understood, man? So dl, I am considering a vector, dl bar as a vector. So dl will be the magnitude of that. Let us consider the ar bar as the unit vector along the line. Okay, so unit vector is a ar bar. Right now dl bar cross ar bar will be nothing but magnitude of a bar cross b bar is nothing but magnitude of a modulus of b into sin theta. So dl a modulus of ar sin theta. Modulus of ar is nothing but 1. So this is equal to dl sin theta, correct? So therefore dh is equal to, right, 1 by 4 pi. Instead of dl sin theta, I write dl bar cross ar bar. Okay, so dl bar cross ar bar will be written and remaining is same, 4 pi r square. Okay, so this is the magnetic field intensity, right, at the point p because of this small element, right? If I want to get the magnetic field intensity at the point p because of the entire conductor, because of the total length of the conductor, then I need to integrate it, correct? So h bar will be is equal to integral dh. So this is equal to integral, right, I dl bar cross ar bar, right, dl bar cross ar bar divided by 4 pi r square. So this is what we call it as the Biot-Savart's law equation for magnetic field intensity. This is the magnetic field intensity due to the, right, line conductor, okay, at the point p, right? So quickly I will just, right, recap this once again. So I have a conductor, a straight line conductor, right? Let us consider a small portion of this conductor as dl, right? Dl is the small portion, differential change, differential element in that conductor is a small element which is dl. Now let consider the point p at a distance of r. The unit vector along this is ar bar. Okay, the angle between the point and the conductor is theta. Okay, so Biot-Savart's law says that, right, the magnetic field intensity, right, is directly proportional to current passing through the conductor, length of the conductor, sine of the angle between the 2 points, between the point and the conductor, and inversely proportional to the square of the distance, correct? So from that I got like this, right? Now dl sin theta, dl, if I consider it as a vector, this will be dl bar cross ar bar. Okay, so I have written the total magnetic field intensity, right? So this is the total magnetic field intensity. Okay, due to the conductor. Now this is a line conductor, right? For a line we get like this. Okay, so if it is a surface conductor, if it is a two-dimensional conductor or two-dimensional surface, then in that case the h bar can be given as, right, integral j cross ar bar. Okay, j cross ar bar by 4 pi r square, right? So IDL bar is replaced by Js, where Js is the surface current density or surface charged current density of the conductor. Okay, so for a line we get current I, whereas for surface we get current per unit area, which is called as surface charge density or surface current density, Js. Okay, so what we write is Js cross Ar bar. Okay, if it is a volume charge, then this h bar can be represented as Jv into Ar bar divided by 4 pi r square, where Jv is nothing but volume current density. Okay, so if it is line charge, we get IDL, right? If it is a surface charge, I into DL will be replaced by I into DS, which is nothing but Js. Okay, the current density Js, right? Okay, next, if it is a volume charge, then I into dV, which is replaced or which is represented as JV, right? Current density JV. Okay, so these are the formulas for line conductor, for surface conductor, and for volume conductor. Okay, clear in this, right? So I hope this is all clear. Okay, there's right concept clear. Okay, so this is how we can calculate h bar, right, using Biot-Savart's law. So once we know h bar, we can calculate b bar. B bar is equal to mu into h bar, correct? So flux density can be calculated, right, if we know magnetic field intensity, right? Okay, so this is about the Biot-Savart's law. Okay, so let us calculate the infinite line, calculate the magnetic field intensity for an infinite conductor. Okay, so this will be similar to that of what we discussed right just now, the problem. Okay, so let us assume an infinite conductor, and it is similar to that of what we discussed in case of electric field intensity. Okay, similar kind of thing, right? So let us assume that there is an infinite line conductor, so the length of the conductor is infinity, and let us assume that it is placed in along z-axis in the cylindrical coordinate system. Okay, in the cylindrical coordinate system, so we have placed it along z-axis. Okay, so along z-axis, right? This is along z-axis. Okay, so let us assume that the current passing through this conductor is I. Okay, let us assume that the current passing through this conductor is infinite conductor is I, and let us assume that the small portion, a small portion of this conductor, okay, a small part of this conductor, and the length of that be dl. Okay, assume that there is a point P, right? This point P is at a distance. Okay, so it is on r axis, this is on z axis, this is on r axis, so it is at a distance of r comma, or it is located at r comma 0 comma 0. So the distance from here to here is small r. Okay, and the line joining this will be capital R. Okay, and the unit vector along this is AR bar. Okay, correct? So these are the things, right? So let us assume an infinite line conductor. It is placed in the cylindrical coordinate system along z-axis. Okay, right? Let us assume a point P on the r axis, on the radius axis, located at r comma 0 comma 0. So the line, the length of, okay, or the line between the two conductors is like this. Okay, and the angle made by this line with the conductor is theta. Okay, so we have assumed all these things. Okay, correct? Right. Now for this infinite line conductor, one second. Yeah. Okay. Is it clear till now? The setup, everything is fine. Okay. Now for this infinite line conductor, okay, so we need to calculate dh bar. dh bar is equal to, dh bar is given as, right, what is dh bar? The cross product of, right, IDL. So I'm calculating first dh bar, then I will get h bar by integrating. Okay, so first let us calculate dh bar. So dh bar is equal to IDL cross AR bar divided by 4 pi r square. This is the formula using Biot-Savart's law, correct? Now here IDL is equal to, IDL bar is equal to, so the current is I, and DL bar, what is DL bar? DL bar is variation along z axis, so I can write it as dz az, correct? So in a cylindrical system, DL bar general formula is, we get dr ar plus r d phi a phi plus dz az. Okay, but here the infinite conductor is varying along z axis. One second, somebody is waiting. Yeah. So along z axis, so we consider DL bar as dz az. Okay, correct? So clear with this, right? Then AR bar. What is AR bar? Unit vector joining the 2 points, this point and this point. So let us assume that this point is placed, or it is at a height of 0 comma 0 comma z. It is placed at 0 comma 0 comma z. So in that case, AR bar can be written as, right, AR bar. So this minus this. So this is R into AR minus Z. Sorry, actually this minus this. So Z into AZ minus R into AR by root of R square plus Z square, correct? So distance between this point and this point. Okay. Okay. So Z into AZ minus R into AR divided by root of R square plus Z square, correct? Now this is right, I got IDL bar and I got AR bar. Let us take the cross product of these two. IDL bar cross AR bar. IDL bar cross AR bar is equal to, right? So again, for I'm writing it here. Yeah. For the cross product, so we need to take a determinant, right? So AX, AY, AZ. AX, AY, AZ. Oh, sorry. This is not a Cartesian coordinate system. Sorry. This is a cylindrical coordinate system. So we get AR, A phi, AZ. Correct? So first vector IDL bar has only AZ component. So AR, A phi is 0, 0. And this is IDZ. Okay? Correct? Now AR bar. So this magnitude, this this particular thing, I'm writing it outside R square plus Z square, because anyways it is common, right? So this I'm writing it out. So AR component is minus R, right? Okay. A phi component is 0 and AZ component is Z. Correct with this, right? Okay. So this is the thing, right? Now therefore this is equal to, right? So what is that we get? So this is the cross product. IDL cross AR bar is equal to, right? So this thing will remain as it is, 1 by R square plus Z square into, right? Firstly AR, right? AR into what I get? AR, if I eliminate this to 0 into 0, 0 into 0, right? So AR into, right, 0. Okay, correct? Next plus minus, sorry, next term will be minus A phi into, right? So if I take out this will be 0 minus 0 into Z, right, that is 0 minus of minus, right, into R I dz. Correct? Okay, understood, right? Yes. Next, plus AZ into, what is AZ term? If I take out this, again 0 into 0, 0 into 0. So 0. Okay, clear with this? So this is the determinant value of this. Okay, AR, first term AR into, so if I take out 0 into 0, 0 into 0, minus A phi into 0 into Z, that is 0, minus of minus R into IZ. So that will be become plus, right? So I will get like this. So IDL bar cross AR bar is equal to ideal bar cross AR bar is equal to what I get now. First term is 0, second term is second term is this, third term is 0. So only this term, right? So this term is R into I into dz a phi divided by root of R square plus Z square. Okay, correct. Now this is ideal bar cross AR bar. Now we want DH bar. What is DH bar? DH bar is equal to ideal bar cross AR bar divided by 4 pi R square. Okay, so this is equal to all this already we have evaluated, R into I into dz a phi divided by, right, 4 pi R square. 4 pi is as it is. What is R? R is nothing but the distance. Again, that value is nothing but R square plus Z square, root of R square plus Z square. Okay, all square and this. So we can write root of, or we can write this as R square plus Z square whole power 3 by 2. Okay, R square plus Z square whole power 3 by 2. Okay, so this is the DH bar. Clear? Understood this till now? Any doubts in this? Sir, minus also. Yeah. Correct. Okay. Sorry, there is a minus here. Okay. Yeah. Minus E phi. Okay. Done with this? Clear with this? Understood? Okay. I hope there is no problem or there is no doubt in this. Okay. Right. Now we need to get the value of H bar. Okay. So how do I get H bar? Right. H bar is nothing but the total magnetic field intensity because of the entire conductor. So H bar is equal to, H bar value is equal to integral DH, right? Integral DH. So that is equal to integral, right, minus R into I into, right, dz a phi divided by, right, 4 pi, okay, R square plus Z square whole power 3 by 2. Okay. So in this, what I do is, okay, so I will place R, okay, fine, we'll see that later. Okay. So now we need to, right, what is the variable of integration here? Z. Okay. So dz, right, we are integrating all this with respect to dz. So the variable of integration is dz. So we have to integrate it from along z. So what is the along z? What is the length of the conductor? The length of the conductor is infinity. Ante this limit is extending from minus infinity to infinity. Ante kadamma? Okay. So it's an infinite length conductor. Okay. So therefore the value of z is varying from minus infinity to infinity. We have to integrate it over minus infinity to infinity. So if that is the case, then we cannot evaluate the integral. Okay. So therefore directly it is not possible to evaluate the integral. So therefore what we do is we change the variable. Okay. So we do the change of variable, right? So for changing the variable, right, what we assume it is, let us assume z is equal to r tan theta. Okay. So let us relate all the two terms that are present inside r and z with theta. Okay. So z is equal to r tan theta, z square. So for, is it understood, ma? So see here, when we are integrating, we have to integrate it from minus infinity to infinity. Why should we integrate from minus infinity to infinity? Because the length of the conductor is from minus infinity to infinity. Okay. So when we do that, we get, we will not get the exact result. Okay. We will not get the exact result as, or we cannot solve the integral because it is minus infinity to infinity. Correct. So therefore, right, we need to do it into, or we need to convert it into some other form. So for that, what I am doing is z is equal to r tan theta, right? So similar kind of thing that we did in the electric field intensity also. When we are calculating electric field intensity, we also did the same thing. Z is equal to r tan theta, z square is equal to r square tan square theta. Okay, right? And differentiating this, dz is equal to, right, dz is equal to, right, r right, theta. Okay, we are changing it into variable of theta, so d theta we need to get. So differential of tan theta is secant square theta, secant square theta d theta. Clear with this? Okay, so dz is equal to r secant square theta d theta. Okay, so let us substitute that in this equation. Okay, so all these things let us substitute in the equation. I hope that you are able to follow. Correct? Yes. Z equal to r tan theta, right? Z square is equal to r square tan square theta, and dz is equal to r secant theta, right? Done. Now limits. So when z is equal to minus infinity, so right, right, if I assume z is equal to minus infinity, then right, this value will become, theta will be equal to, right, what theta will be equal to is minus pi by 2, correct? So tan inverse of infinity, tan inverse of infinity is tan inverse of minus infinity is basically pi by 2. Okay, and similarly if z is equal to infinity, okay, when I assume z is equal to infinity, that is my upper limit, z is equal to infinity, so tan inverse of z, right, theta is equal to tan inverse of z by r. So z equal to infinity కాబట్టి tan inverse of infinity by r అంటే tan inverse of infinity, tan inverse of infinity is nothing but theta is equal to pi by 2. Okay, tan inverse of infinity will happen when theta is pi by 2. Clear with this? So therefore h is equal to, h bar is equal to, right, what we get, integral minus I into, okay, r put as it is, r is also doesn't do anything, r a5 divided by 4 pi. Okay, so instead of r square is also written as it is, r square, instead of z square we can write it as r square tan square theta, r square tan square theta, and instead of dz what we write, r secant square theta d theta. Okay, so the limits are minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. Clear with this? Right, so I have put as it is, I na alage unchamu, I is kept constant, put as it is, r is also put as it is, a5 is also put as it is, instead of dz what I write, r, what I got, dr secant square theta d theta, right, and then denominator 4 pi I have written as it is, right, whole power, okay, r square I have written as it is, z square, instead of z square r square tan square theta whole power 3 by 2. Okay, ఇది ఉంటుంది, right, this is the thing. Correct? Clear with this? Yeah. So now this is equal to, right, h bar is equal to, so minus I r sorry, I and a5 and 4 pi are constant. Okay, so I'm writing all of them as okay, out of the integral minus I into a5 by 4 pi. Okay, a5 is a unit vector, it is also doesn't involve in integration, so this will be minus pi by 2 to pi by 2, this will be minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. So r into r, again r square secant square theta, okay, d theta divided by, here, right, what we get, r square if I take common, then r square whole power 3 by 2, right, that will become r cube. Okay, into, right, what is the remaining term, 1 plus tan square theta whole power 3 by 2. Clear? Okay, ante kadama, 1 plus tan square theta whole power 3 by 2. Okay, yeah, so this is equal to, right, h bar is equal to minus I into a5 divided by 4 pi into integral minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. Okay, minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. So r square r cube, so 1 by r, right, 1 by r into secant square theta is, okay, 1 plus tan square theta is also nothing but secant square theta. Okay, so this is secant square theta and this is also secant square theta whole power 3 by 2. Okay, so square this gets cancelled, this will become secant cube theta. Clear with this? Okay, and d theta. Correct? So I think you are able to follow, right? Okay, so this is equal to minus I into a phi into 4 pi, right? So what is this? We'll get secant square theta and right, cube lo okati bothe, so 1 by, right, minus pi by 2 to pi by 2, right, 1 by r into, right, 1 by secant theta migulutundi. 1 by secant theta is nothing but cos theta. Okay, cos theta d theta. Clear with this, right? So r is also constant with respect to theta, so I can put r also outside, right? So okay, if I put like this, so this is equal to the final term. Okay, this is equal to minus I by 4 pi r into a phi. Okay, right? So what is integral of cos theta? Sin theta. Okay, integral of cos theta is sin theta, minus sin theta, sorry, integral of cos theta is minus sin theta. So minus and this minus goes off. Okay, that minus and this minus goes off, so this is sin theta. Okay, from where to where? Minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. Okay, so this is equal to I by 4 pi r a phi into, what is this? Sin pi by 2 minus of sin minus pi by 2. So sin pi by 2 is 1, minus of minus 1, that is 2. Okay, so ఈ రెండు ఇది మొత్తం, right, sin pi by 2 minus of sin minus pi by 2 అవుతుంది. sin of minus pi by 2 అంటే minus 1 అవుతుంది. So this is nothing but 1 minus of minus 1 అంటే 1 plus 1, 1 plus 1 is 2. So 2 and this 2 gets cancelled, 4 gets cancelled. So what I get is h bar, the final expression that I get is h bar is equal to I by 2 pi r into a phi. Okay, so this is the final expression of, so if the length of the conductor is finite, let us consider the conductor is a finite conductor. Okay, so it is let us assume that this is the point, right, p. Okay, and the length of the conductor is finite. Okay, infinite kaadu. Ippudu emoutundi in this case? Okay, so let us assume that this is the thing, right? So the one end of the conductor is making an angle of alpha 1, other end of the conductor is making, let us say, alpha 2, angle is alpha 2. Okay, so first the length of the conductor is finite. Okay, right, it is of finite value. So in that case, right, if it is of finite value, okay, so finite value, right, let us assume that first end is making an angle of alpha 1, second end is making an angle of alpha 2. In that case, the total magnetic field h bar can be written as I by 4 pi r. Okay, I by 4 pi r, as we got, right, 4 pi r in the same case, right? So what we get is sin alpha 2 minus sin alpha 1 into a phi. Okay, in the similar way, just now whatever we calculated, in the same way if we calculate, then the expression for magnetic field intensity of a finite conductor, finite length conductor, will be this: I by 4 pi r. R is this distance. Okay, so the point is at a distance of r comma 0 comma 0. It is at r comma 0 comma 0. So right, what I get is h bar is equal to I by 4 pi r into sin of sin alpha 2 minus sin alpha 1 into a phi. Okay, so you can solve this in the similar way that we solved for this, right? Just here, because we got only sin theta.